second generation crossroads of DDT.
All right, we got Triple H did an interview that we soon gonna talk about. He talks about Tony Khan and his storytelling or lack thereof in AEW. Let's tune in more to Locker Room and let's talk about it.
I'm tired of being humble. I'm tired of letting people think they got a chance. The tribal chief is head and shoulders above everybody.
Hey, guys. We back at the Locker Room. Toss Ring Scandal, a.k.a. KDH, Turbo King the building. We'll talk about Triple H slams Tony Khan, lack of storytelling AEW. Let's talk about it, guys. This is the interview that Triple H just recently did on the All In podcast. He makes backhanded comment about AEW booking, lack of creative reasoning. And Triple H basically said that he is about WWE having a creative philosophy. Now, the words he said, I quote, "We tell stories, I'm less, and people within our business sometimes take this wrong, but I don't. We don't write the shows based on that'll be a great match. We write it on the stories that we can create." Now, he was also talking about MMA and also and UFC. But he said that MMA is built on real competition, still relies on personalities to attract fans. But he says it's also hard to miss the fact that AEW also books much like UFC, where Tony Khan plugs wrestlers into match without any build. And he said that WWE is just all about storytelling, even though their stories ain't been all that as of late. But it's not about match quality. And we know AEW is all about match quality, 5 stars, rated by Dave Meltzer, and the rest goes on. But he said a big difference between the two. We all know that WWE is sports entertainment. AEW may book things because of a great match, but WWE, they don't roll that way. But we also had an interview with Tony Khan. He went on Z100 where he discussed about AEW and their storylines as of 2025. And he always talk about how AEW been going. So we'll talk about Tony Khan first, Z100, then Triple H at the All In podcast here.
Listening to a false narrative, and you can tell me honestly whether you agree with this or not, Josh. I think the stories in AEW have been fantastic this year, and we've been talking a long time about some of the great stories in AEW, and you even just said how fantastic you thought some of the storytelling around Jon Moxley's World Championship reign has been. People even question that aspect of it, and I think that was proven right. But then certainly, whether you love them or not, nobody can question there's a lot of storytelling in AEW. I think it's fantastic, and a lot of the fans who actually pay attention to it think it's great. But there will be people, tell me if you agree with this or not, there's people that would say that there's a lack, and I don't agree with this, I think it's untrue, of stories in AEW. I don't think that's true at all, and it's really, I think, not only a misconception, but a falsehood that people spread.
I think the biggest thing for me as a fan is that whatever time that I invest in what I'm watching, I want to get it back in some sort of a legitimate payback. Like, I want this story to be paid off. I want this for us. And it doesn't have to be like, I'm of the mindset where like, it doesn't have to be a happy ending all the time. I just like my payoffs.
Yep.
And I think that this initial success of AEW, like wrestling fans needed All Elite Wrestling at the time, especially at the time when WWE was arguably in one of the biggest creative ruts they ever were in at that time when you guys launched. And you guys came out and said, hey, we want to be an alternative to wrestling fans. Well, this is what we want. What's the mindset now, finishing 2025 and beyond? You guys have been established for several years now as the number 2 company in the country, arguably on a global scale as well. I would say globally, to be quite honest. You guys, okay, you could also be an alternate, but why can't you be the primary? So what's your mindset moving forward for AEW and beyond?
I think we've had a great year, and I want to focus on just always going from one great show to the next, but also trying to always set up things for the future shows, from Dynamite on Wednesday to the next Wednesday on Dynamite, but also to Saturday on Collision, or from Saturday on Collision to Wednesday on Dynamite, or from, Saturday to Saturday, whatever we have to do. And certainly from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, and the TV set up the pay-per-views, having great matches and great rivalries that build to the next rivalry and match. I think that's really been a focus, but also the wrestlers have really delivered. The team is clicking. It's a lot like a sports team, and it is a sport. And even though they're fighting each other, it is certainly a great collaboration to put out a great wrestling show together from start to finish. And we've been doing that week after week throughout the year, batting such a high average. Wednesdays on Dynamite on TBS and HBO Max, and Saturdays on TNT and HBO Max on Collision. The shows have just been consistently great. The fans are very happy with AEW. That's, I think, why there's been the growth. But it takes a team. It takes the wrestlers doing really well, the staff putting on everything it takes to do a wrestling show, which is a huge team effort with hundreds of people working together to put these shows on every week that air, not only having a really successful year here in the U.S., but in England, our ratings have grown. We've built great partnerships overseas, and we're on in 150 countries now.
And pay-per-views are now available on Amazon Prime, which I noticed that. And I was like, this is so much easier than finding all these other apps, because I'm constantly on Prime Video, I should say. So that was huge.
Yeah, and Amazon Prime will be carrying, of course, Forbidden Door coming up Sunday, August 24th, Sunday afternoon.
Thank you.
And that'll be great. And then the next day up here, the tickets go on sale Monday, August 25th, or you can sign up early to get the tickets for Full Gear, which is coming November 22nd back here in this area in Newark for your listeners, and continuing the great tradition of AEW shows, not only in the market, but
MMA has really taken over a lot of the zeitgeist, especially amongst younger generations of men. Do you feel pressure to make it more physical or more like it? Or how do you think these two things play? And what role do they play, I guess, maybe in American society?
I think they're total opposites. Like MMA is just, it's competitive, it's competition, that's what it's based on. Though best when, and you can look at that world, and I don't want to get too deep into their world, but you have a Conor McGregor come along. If Conor McGregor came out of retirement tomorrow and said he's fighting in 4 months, it would be massive, right? The amount of people that would gravitate towards that, the ticket sales, the viewership would be intense. When's the last time he fought? And when is the last time he won? Mm-hmm. Right?
I couldn't even tell you.
It's forever. What people are buying is that cult of personality. Right? It's the same in our business. We tell stories. I'm less, and people within our business sometimes take this wrong, but we don't write the shows based on that'll be a great match. We write it on the stories that we can create. The protagonist, the antagonist, how does that work with each other? Telling stories that can resonate with people that maybe they've experienced in their real life, some type of fantastical version of that.
So is there a writer's room?
There is a writer's room. We have a large staff of...
That's awesome.
Yeah. There's a show right now on Netflix called Unreal, and it is for the first time ever a look behind the scenes at what we do. We let cameras into the writer's room. We let them backstage at our shows, so you see the production of the shows, you see what goes into it. You know, there's months of planning that go into stuff. We're looking now at WrestleMania in Vegas in April, and what those matches are going to be and how we want to get there. What is the storyline arc that takes us there over time? I would say we're much more akin to like the Marvel universe, where you're planning out long-term where the movies fit and how they go with all the characters, than we are, direct MMA. At the end of the day, direct MMA is, or UFC, it's you're booking matches, and the interest is that guy's really good, he's really good. I'm not sure who's going to win. Let's put them together. When you get...
Now, first, I'm going to talk about Tony Khan, the interview he did at Z100. Tony Khan, you need to stop it. Now, AEW has now put on the best storyline as of 2025. The worst stories, and then you have the nerve to talk about Jon Moxley. You talk about when him with the Death Riders, where he had the AEW championship in a briefcase, and that whole thing was a disaster. I think I can speak for most of the fans in pro wrestling, where we could say we couldn't wait until the AEW championship was off of Jon Moxley, and we really got tired of Death Riders up until he lost the championship to Hangman Adam Page at All In this year. So I highly disagree with Tony Khan saying that they had great storylines in AEW, and that was a horrible storyline within itself. Now, what Triple H said, yes, WWE is not, they all go off pro wrestling, cinema, sports entertainment, and they go off storylines, but WWE, even though you're the premier company, your storylines as of lately have not been premier as they have been in the past. Your storylines ain't too much far off from AEW. We'll get a storyline with Triple H that he puts together, whether it's the New Day, whether it's the whole Jade Cargill, Naomi, Bianca Belair, or the whole Solo versus Roman Reigns, or the whole, whatever the case may be, the Vision, all these stables that he creates. He starts out very, very good with these storylines and stables, but when that's done, it really doesn't go anywhere. It really doesn't. Like I said, I know that AEW, their storylines are not the best, but as of late, most fans can speak for this. WWE has not been putting out the best story quality-wise, and even matches too. They have been having strong as they have been in 2022, late 2022, and all of 2023. 2024 is where we started to see a dwindle in the storylines and the whole PLE quality for WWE. And in 2025, it's been a whole shit show, to say the least. We had a great Royal Rumble. We kicked off the year great with Royal Rumble. We had a great Elimination Chamber with John Cena turning heel. And as soon as that Elimination Chamber PLE was over, we didn't see The Rock no more. John Cena heel turn was a disaster. WrestleMania 41 was a disaster. And everything else started to just go downhill since then. I mean, I can't remember a real good PLE. The last time we really had a real good quality PLE, well, I could say that was one of my best PLEs of the year since Elimination Chamber. Everything has been subpar or average. It hasn't been all that great, so I don't understand the whole thing with storyline. The bottom line is AEW and WWE both need to get their acts together and get these storylines together. Tony Khan, do stories, make it work. Triple H, write better stories and stop doing this recycling storylines on one show and do the same thing on the opposite show, just using different characters. That's all I'm saying for both companies. They really need to do better with their storylines. Triple H is right, but he needs to check himself as well. But other than that, that's all I have for that. And that's all for Triple H slams Tony Khan lack of storytelling in AEW. We're talking about Triple H slams AEW storylines. You guys let me know what you think of both interviews of Tony Khan on Z100 and Triple H on All In Podcasts. Click the link below to the next video, guys. You already know what it is at this point. It's OUT.